Oh, hello! Welcome to the Flyover State of Film. I am this week's host, Brian Hurst, and with me, I have some gentlemen you might recognize. These aren't some coastal elites. These aren't some New York fat cats. We're the flesh and blood of this country. They may forget about us here in the Flyover States, but never will we be forgotten. We'll push through. Joe, Yusef, TJ, everybody have a drink and celebrate the power of the Flyover State of Film, man.
Yay!
Oh, TJ, you're drinking Lion's Head?
Yeah. Oh,
Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, represent.
Yeah, man, love it.
It's great beer.
Gentlemen, let's get right into it. Let's not mess around. I want to talk a little news. Big news of the last week. We can't avoid it. We did a reaction. You can check it out on this channel. It was fucking enlightening. But let's talk a little bit about the Star Wars trailer. We got the title, Rise of the Skywalker. What do we think about that? Anybody got an opinion?
Oh, never.
I'm a fan of it because how simple it is. Everyone's expecting some crazy, like, deep cut. I was like, oh, I get it. I understand it.
I don't know if I love it. It's fine. It's kind of lazy.
Yeah, I don't like it. They introduce all these new fucking characters, and they want us to expand, and then they want us to grow, but they're like, fucking Skywalker, motherfucker. So it's like,
and it's the same way with the trailer. Like, I love the trailer right up to the point at the very end with the fucking Emperor laugh, which, don't get me wrong, Emperor, hands down, one of my favorite characters. And he saves the prequels. Him and Obi-Wan, are the only redeemable thing about the prequels for me. But, again, I thought we were moving forward, not backward. I wanted Kylo Ren to be the big bad guy. I just hope some of these things are diversions. I hope some of these things are doing the Marvel element of fucking around with us and kind of keeping us on our toes.
They're definitely fucking around with us. And I think Rise of the Skywalker, that's Kylo. Kylo's getting his redemption story. And I still believe
Skywalker, Brian, duh.
Kylo doubled down on being a bad guy in the last one. I want him to be the villain of this movie.
No, he's gonna do a flip. Rey's gonna be bad. Rey's gonna be bad.
No way. Rey's definitely not gonna be bad.
God.
I'm worried that Rise of the Skywalker means recant the whole her parents aren't and go back and be like, oh, she's a Skywalker, and I don't want that.
So obvious, though.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping that's why they kind of chose this title, was to throw us off, to make people think that, but then to go another way. Maybe Skywalker will become the new term for what a Jedi is. The Jedi aren't the mystical force anymore. They don't exist. If you tapped into the force, good or evil, you're what's known as a Skywalker, and you kind of walk that gray line. There's no dark side, light side anymore. It's more, I don't know. That's what I'm putting out there.
I know what's going to happen. Okay. So Rey's going to go to this planet, right? And she's this little boy, and this little boy's gonna have a broom, and then he's gonna be like, "Are you an angel?"
No, you already made that.
And then he was gonna put on his glasses and hop on the broom. Harry Potter crossover.
Listen,
no,
not the worst crossover I've heard all week.
No, yeah, everybody's just throwing shit at the wall, see what sticks. But yeah, maybe that's not a bad idea actually, Brian. I like that. The mantle is no longer about the Jedi. It's about the Skywalker.
Right. Skywalker becomes the new term, becomes the new word for a force user.
I do like.
I mean,
technically, that'd be cool.
He's a legend.
Was there anything else that you guys heard coming out of Star Wars Celebration that you wanted to talk about?
I have a hot take.
Oh boy!
Billy Business.
Billy Business.
Do you want to start up your own podcast first?
Yeah, first you could buy my Michelin tires.
Let me search. Would you see that was called that podcast, Hot Takes? Let me search for that. Oh, there's only 40 podcasts called Hot Takes. Is there a way to narrow that down? Or?
So I love Lando as a character, right?
Sure.
He could be really fun to revisit.
Yeah.
But does anyone else have a feeling that they're gonna fuck that up? And then no, you know what's racist? Having the only person of other color or one of them come in and then be related to that person.
Man,
we don't know that yet. That has not been confirmed.
Or I'm sorry, all this speculation of that.
Right, the people speculating are racist.
Just give me another badass character.
I feel like we should be more worried about how
they have to be tied to someone else.
Hey, they did give you a badass black lady character in Solo, and then they killed her off in 15 minutes.
Who still haven't seen Solo? Because funny story.
Oh, spoiler alert! Sorry.
No. Funny story about Solo. I picked it up from Redbox and never returned it, and won't watch it.
Ooh, that's gonna be
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it.
Okay.
I never looked at that charge.
You're about to pay double the price. You better get rid of that thing, man.
No, this was like in October.
Oh, okay. What anything else from Star Wars Celebration? Anybody watch the footage of like the Mandalorian or anything like that? I don't know if it got released publicly. Was it only at Star Wars Celebration?
It didn't.
Too much Star Wars.
Well, okay. I like how Star Wars was like we're ending at Last Jedi. I'm sorry, we're ending at Skywalker. But by the way, here's all this other content.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like so much stuff.
Well, they're taking a break from movies supposedly, and they're going to do a couple. So they got the shows going. But that's a good segue. Mandalorian's going to be on Disney Plus. Disney Plus had a big unveiling. Any thoughts about that? That's another big news story from last week. Anybody care about Disney Plus?
I definitely will steal a lot of their stuff once it comes out, but to pay for another app, it's tough, man.
Speaking of pay though, at $6.99 when Netflix just raised their price to $12.99,
and DC Universe is probably going to fail. So
fucking like Disney came to play. Disney is not fucking around. Yeah, it's going to be Disney Plus and then someone else. Like they are going to be one of the contenders for sure.
DC Universe is a non-starter there. No, Disney Plus, it's the price point.
They could get away with it if it was all Warner Brothers stuff, but just DC does not have enough content to support a whole channel.
This was the big sell for me. And I'm a little mad because I already have FXX through cable. But Disney Plus is getting the whole Simpsons library. I have all the DVDs, but that is so convenient.
They also stopped. DVDs only go up to, 19 now, right?
22.
They haven't got
22.
Whoa. No, there's not
22.
Season 20.
Yeah.
No, there is.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there is.
No, there's Season 20 because that one came out like when the season premiered. But I think
everybody hold your breath. Somebody's Googling. This is podcast magic.
Shit, because seriously, because I got some buy-in to do if there's more out.
Am I drunk?
I like the idea of The Simpsons on there.
I'm drunk. I'm sorry, Brian, you're right. I'm thinking of 18 because they've been filling the gap.
Well, yeah, the thing is, they took a couple years off. They stopped making them the Simpsons fan outcry. That I assume is the same one that has kept the show on the air. It's funny, like on the internet where the snobs are, you only hear people like
watch shows like that. Like,
I want to watch the tick. I'm gonna burn a free month of Amazon with a new email address to get on that shit. I'm just waiting for the Invincible.
And if you're gonna give us if you're gonna give us side characters, I guess give us like Luis from Ant-Man. Like give us him.
Here's an idea. Do a good Inhumans show. Don't do it characters that have been in the movies. Give us something else, and then tie it in later if it's successful. Like try something like that.
I think
what Agents of Shield should have been. You know what I mean? Like a tie-in.
I think the reason why they're doing this is because they want to expand to new characters, and they don't want to give up on their current ones, so they're just moving them to TV. That way, they have more room to make new movies because they have a shit ton of new characters now. They have Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and all that bullshit. So I'm the reason why I think they're doing that, and it's not. I'm not saying that I want to watch them. Maybe I'll watch them, but the reason why they're doing it is like, hey, we don't have any more room to grow. Like,
they're taking characters from the movies that are not like Falcon's never going to get his own movie, but he can get his own TV show on Disney Plus. You know, like.
So he doesn't need to be like an additional playing figure in a movie. He can just be in his own TV world over there. And if something
show up for team-ups in the movies because we've established and whatever. I don't want to harp too much on it. I like that they're getting all the Fox stuff. That's a big thing too. That's a huge library of content for them to put up. All the Aliens movies are on there. They've already said they got plans to continue making Alien movies, continue making Planet of the Apes movies. So Disney's in the business of making money.
Do we need more Planet of the Apes? That was such a good trilogy.
You're right.
I would be fine if they didn't but if they want in 5 years or 10 years to do it again, I'd be interested.
Are we able to? I hope they get or somehow get the Marvel cartoons from the 90s.
Ooh,
that Fox owned.
Good question. I don't know how that works.
Like animated series. Yeah. I don't know. Well, they're on Hulu right now. Or they were.
I have all the X-Men, and you know what? I don't watch them that much because I don't think that show holds up as well as other people do.
The Spider-Man animated series holds up.
Batman the animated series and Gargoyles hold up much better. All right,
Spider-Man
with that,
holds up.
Let's
and
do
Spider-Man?
a quick segue.
No.
You don't think the Spider-Man animated series holds up, Joe?
No, I'm asking.
I do.
You do? Okay. I only have the Venom saga. That's all I have of that series, and I think it's pretty decent, but, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little bit just right before we get into the first topic. I just want to do a little grave dancing on the new Hellboy. I'm really glad that it failed. Fuck that movie. I said it from the beginning. They fucking, they didn't give Guillermo the money he wanted, and he went on. He was like, oh, really? Well, I'll take Abe Sapien, and I'll go make a fucking Oscar winner. Peace, bitches. And he bailed out, and they cheaped out. They thought they were going to make a fucking Deadpool clone. They're like, we know. We'll spend $60 million. We'll make some fucking 2004 CGI, and we'll put the Queen of Terrible Movies, Mia Jovovich, in it, and we'll fucking nail this thing. Well, guess what? It sucked ass, and everybody saw it coming a mile away, and I'm sorry, no ill will to David Harbour, but I hear he was a dick on set. I hear the producers were fucked up. The guy who directed The Descent deserves much better than this. So,
can I add something? Yeah, I agree with everything that you just said, but mild spoiler, and I'm just throwing it into the internet, and if somebody can make this happen. In the last scene of this movie, they have the galls to put the hand of Ape Sapien, like kind of like a teaser, like, ooh, next movie we're gonna have Ape Sapien. Can somebody edit that? And Ape Sapien comes up with a hand and an Oscar in his hand. Like, fuck you. That would be awesome.
When Joe gets access to the footage, man, we'll have that shit. And the legend. But yeah, I just wanted to get out in front and say I thought this was a bad idea from the get-go, and I was right. So
it's just funny because it's now the movie that fucking assholes are gonna die on. The hill to die. Like, no, it's really good. You just have to see this one scene, man.
You understand? It's closer to the comic book. Oh wow, awesome, great.
It'll be like the Keanu Reeves Constantine. Everyone's like, go back and check it out.
Actually, that
is Brian.
Go back and check it out.
Guys, I just checked out Ghost Rider like 2 hours ago.
No. That's a great segue. Let's talk about the MCU. Let's talk about Marvel movies that are not in the MCU. I know this wasn't the original, but that's such a good segue. I'm not going to waste it. Let's go right into our first topic tonight. I don't even remember whose it was. TJ, maybe?
Joe.
No, I think it was Joe. Joe, you brought this up, so I'll kick it to you first. What are your favorite MCU Marvel movies? So more of the earlier era. I guess basically we're talking about things that came out before 2008.
Logan. Yeah, I guess pre-Iron Man. There were still a few after Iron Man, but they all...
Yeah, there's a couple X-Men movies that came after. That's true.
Logan. I will have to go. So I wanted to pick this topic because with Endgame coming out, you gotta ride that wave, but there is a past.
So many MCU rewatches in my Twitter feed.
That's not just MCU. And there are some pretty good movies in there. One of which, Love Blade 2.
I just watched that with my son for the first time the other night. It kicks so much ass. Yeah. That's by far the best Blade movie. It's not even close.
Pick your favorite, Joe, and tell
favorite.
us why.
I mean, favorite. I feel like it's also going to pick is Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is still one of the strongest Marvel movies.
Why do you love it so much?
I agree.
It's written. Its writing is phenomenal. The scenes and the beats all work, and Doc Ock kills it.
Logan. I agree.
Yeah, Alfred Molina.
Aunt May is
an all-timer.
Aunt May is emotionally strong and the most effective she's ever been in any version.
Too old.
Comic accurate old.
Comic accurate bitch. Also, that
It's
scene
just a
where the
phenomenal
dog hands come to life and they just kill everybody.
The Evil Dead 2 finally coming out in Sam Raimi's movie.
I will say, and this is something the Sam Raimi movies all suffer from for me, is there's no like legitimate bad guys in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Everybody's like a victim and of circumstance, and something's controlling them or something's affecting them. And I always wish there was like some just legitimate bad guys in the Spider-Man movies. But Alfred Molina is really great.
But it also adds complexity to it. It adds, humanity. It's not
though. He gets off the hook. There's no complexity in a guy who has no consequence.
He dies.
I remember.
Oh, he dies. He gives up his life.
His sacrifice doesn't mean much to me. That's early 2000s comic book movie shit where the villain has to die for no reason. They just kill off the villain all the time. Actually, that didn't stop till a couple of years ago.
Shout out to Alfred Molina. Being when that movie came out, and I was young, and seeing him like that same year in Species, like at like someone's house, and being like, "Hey, he can't be in other movies."
I think the one that blew my mind the most is realizing he was the dude in Boogie Nights when they go with Tom Jane.
Shit. They're on
he's the guy in his bathrobe and his underwear, and he's like jumping around in his fucking house. That's crazy.
Logan.
And he's
in Speedwagon.
He's in Frida with Salma Hayek, foreshadowing our Desperado talk. But I agree that Spider-Man 2 is amazing, but I also love Spider-Man 1. It's a fantastic movie, and Willem Dafoe is like the perfect casting of a Green Goblin ever. And talking about Aunt May, she has a fantastic scene when she's like praying and Green Goblin bursts through the door and he's like, "Finish!" And
just like praying.
I know TJ hates all this shit, but I agree that like
shaking his head.
Go fuck Norm. Name Norm.
Like they brought the comic book to life on the screen. They're not the most like perfect. They're not realistic, but they feel like a real comic book to me. That's like what sells them. You know,
we're still getting the formula down.
I feel like
people who like Hellboy.
I like Hellboy.
No, like new Hellboy.
New Hellboy.
No,
How about
TJ, we don't.
TJ?
You just don't like Spider-Man, but
you just don't like good stuff. But what do you like about Marvel movies? Tell us one.
Yeah.
You tell us. Me? You want to do me?
Look at that segue within the segment.
Tell us about. Now he's going to talk about the literally worst abomination, the embarrassment that damn near killed comic book movies for a decade.
Venom. Actually, it was the first Marvel movie.
To take his opinion seriously.
I feel extremely offended because I thought Wesley Snipes was amazing in the original Blade. I thought the original Blade is one of the best movies out there from Marvel. It's got probably the best opening scene. Fuck X2 and Nightcrawler. This opening scene with the Blood Rave is hands down the best scene. Now, with that being said, Venom, Thomas Jane's Punisher. Bing, bang, boom, that movie rocks.
After we've covered Warzone on this show, you're going to bring
Warzone.
I have Warzone on my list.
All I'm saying is,
John Travolta was awesome.
You put the bait out there. And I'll tell you what, I'm not taking it. I'm saving that for a very special occasion one day. And I'll tell you what,
every fucking 4 minutes of your life, Howard the Duck.
Blade really is hands down probably my favorite non-MCU Marvel movie. And if at some point, sometime in the future, Kevin Feige flips his cap around backwards. It's like, fucking, I'm putting Blade in there. I will love him forever. But until then, he's always just a B+ for me, you know?
It would be awesome to see a Disney Plus series of Moon Knight and Blade. Just give the two characters that everybody's been bitching about, like, where is this character going to be? And just fucking here you are.
Yeah, shout out to Marvel Comics right now. They're doing a new series. I haven't bought a comic book in a pretty long time, but they're doing Blade vs. Wolverine, and best believe I'll be buying that. But I'll pass it on to somebody else now.
I'll take the reins so Brian can finish off. I have the Spider-Mans 1 and 2, and even 3. I kind of like 3. It's not a good movie, but I don't know. I'm not saying it's a good movie.
The Sandman scene of him bringing himself together, like the Sandman being created scene, is incredible. Every time I'll stop what I'm doing to watch that shit. It's really great.
That movie would have been fantastic without James Franco and without Toby.
But see,
if it was just Sandman,
they never forced to put Venom in there. That's the real problem. The worst part of that is that they forced Venom down our throat.
Yeah, but
I've mentioned on this
Franco
podcast before. That movie is one of my biggest question marks of like I would love to see the like what happened, like mini doc about like the drama because
the drama between MCU and or the Marvel and Raimi or Paramount.
I
respect him for that.
But I agree. He's
like, I'm gonna cram everything.
You're gonna make me do this? Fuck you. Here, I'll fucking tank this whole franchise. I don't give a shit. Yeah. That's pretty baller. That's a baller move.
I mean, that's kind of what happened with Gremlins 2.
Yeah.
They forced him to make Gremlins 2, and he didn't want to. And he's like, "Oh, you want a Gremlins 2? I'll give you a fucking Gremlins."
And we got an awesome Gremlins 2,
and that's a great Gremlins movie. No shit.
Yeah, but I
will say, in defense of James Franco in the third movie, at least that arc makes sense. They were building to something. I'm not saying it's executed well, but like. That had a purpose. It made sense. Literally, the Venom thing is a rock falls from the sky and lands like 3 feet from Peter Parker, and that's your intro to like one of the most influential comic characters in the 90s.
Venom. They should have saved it. It should have been like a teaser for the next movie, and then they expand on Venom.
We've talked about Spider-Man enough. Yusef, do you have other picks that aren't Spider-Man?
Yes, I wanted to talk about X-Men First Class.
Nice. Solid.
I love that movie because it fucking broke away from, even though they fucking jammed it up our asses with first Days of Future Past, but it was just broke away from the continuity of the shit show that X-Men became with Origins and
after
The Last Stands
of X-Men 3 and Origins, First Class was the only X-Men movie I don't think I went to see in the theater. I didn't see it until it came to DVD, and I was like, damn, they made another good one, and I fucked up and missed it.
The Wolverine was pretty fun.
It's fun, but that was after. That's after First Class. That's after First Class.
Also,
and actually, I really like. I'm a Days of Future Past guy. I really like Days of Future Past.
So do I.
It sucks.
But I mean,
I don't want to have the fight. I'm just saying I enjoy it. I get why people don't, but I like it. It doesn't matter because they tanked it anyway because Apocalypse is garbage. So whether you like it or not, even if you like Days of Future Past, you don't have anything to hang on to, so it doesn't matter. It's all going away. It's all fire now.
The only thing that I don't like about this First Class is the Mystique angle. I really didn't like that angle, but the pathos behind
it's all for
Magneto is forced.
The X-Men, like it's
Jennifer Lawrence she got
but that was after they didn't know she was going to be so famous during the making, so you don't have that excuse when they were making First Class.
Like right after First Class came out that she got cast for Hunger Games, right? Mm-hmm. So it was pretty close.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, which is really awesome with First Class is they took probably one of the most powerful scenes from the first X-Men film. Hate to give that movie credit because the director's a piece of shit, but with that first scene with a young,
still groundbreaking though. I mean, for sure.
A young Magneto in the Nazi.
I was going to say.
And then doing First Class and pulling them together and then expanding it
and giving something and adding some context to that. Yeah,
I love the one that I wanted just to point out before I jump to Brian is I love how they did the underwater scene where Magneto is just willing to die underwater to hold on to that submarine and Xavier literally saves him. It really adds.
Argentina too is incredible.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And the coin in the ending.
I saw that and I was like, this Michael Fassbender dude is too good for an X-Men movie. Why is he in an X-Men movie?
Kevin Bacon though.
I know they fumbled. I know they fumbled.
Great to see Kevin Bacon. I wish he would pop up in shit like that more often, just out of nowhere. That was really cool.
So yeah, X-Men's First Class is a fantastic movie, and I wish that. I know that he's currently stuck on the Kingsman, but I wish I'm blanking on his name.
Matthew Vaughn.
I wish like he made more movies because he's jumped around. He did Kick-Ass, he did X-Men, he did Kingslayer. He's like jumping around genres. And every time he jumps into a new movie, he really brings something new to that. And X-Men First Class was really needed in that X-Men world because that fucking franchise was just going down the drain for sure.
Oh yeah.
All right, Brian, what's up, motherfucker?
What do you think?
I don't know if this is gonna be a hot take.
Hot takes.
There's so many hot takes. They're so spicy.
Jeez, you're burning.
Ang Lee's Hulk.
I'm gonna poke beer tomorrow.
Wait, what? That is a hot take because that movie is fucking awful.
No, Joe. Let him talk. I want to hear this bullshit.
It's like
Eric LaSalle.
I know, I get it. It's weird, but that's an auteur filmmaker really trying something. And like his fucking, I like the shit with the panels. I like the scene change panels.
I like that.
That stylistic choice.
Eric LaSalle.
I don't love the look of the Hulk. I just think they weren't ready yet. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things they just weren't up to par. They weren't ready for that. But like I kind of like the story they tried to tell. I like the father-son stuff. I just think it's better. Here's the thing. I don't think it's as bad as it gets credit for being. I think it's better than its reputation.
You probably like Psycho.
If you had never seen it and you've only heard bad things about it, I would recommend giving it a chance.
No,
it's a good video game.
I want to say two things. It's funny that you just said Auteur. When I bring stuff up, you were like, "Oh, fuck you, douchebag, indie. I'm so smart," but you were like, "Auteur vision."
Talk like that. Ang Lee is an artist, and he brought art to a comic film genre. I mean, I'm sorry, your Philistine mind has to try to degrade me, but I just want you to know, take note that when an artist is making art, we should all respect it, whether it's good or not.
Welcome to Brian's talk, where he thinks Gus Van Sant's Psycho is a beautiful piece of art because he's such an artist.
No, but Brian, I agree with it being so different. I wish that it isn't Eric Bana, because Eric Bana cannot act for shit, and I don't like the ending, like the bad guy.
You've never seen Chopper.
You've clearly never seen Funny People, where he was hysterical.
God, Joe, stop.
Logan, girl Logan, Eric LaSalle, clone Logan. Eric Bana was great in Funny People.
Yeah, he plays a rugby guy.
You know, I think this is a really great group of funny people. And you know what I'd like to hear their opinion on is the best wrestlers in movies. That's what I would like to hear. What do you guys think? TJ, I believe you brought this to the table. Would you like to kick us off and tell us a little bit about what made you want to talk about this or whatever?
Oh, yeah. If you guys haven't heard, the uncharismatic, very bland and boring John Cena, the world champ at some point in the time, the guy who wears jorts more than any person ever should, got cast in New Suicide Squad.
So he needs to go back to that high and tight. That hair is fucking off-putting.
Yeah, and also leave the entire rap thing behind because he went back.
Can I ask a question?
I think that was WrestleMania.
I like John Cena in blockers.
Can I ask a question?
Please. He was also good in Sisters.
How expensive is casting John Cena when they have to build new cameras because you can't see him normally?
So my question was to you guys, out of all the movies and all the wrestlers in the world, what are your favorite or least favorite performances in film by a wrestler, excluding The Rock? Because that's a given. The guy's owning everything right now.
And by the way, it's The Rundown. That's the best movie.
Yeah,
The Rock.
Hands down.
I wanna pick before
I really pronounce Walking Tall wrong, but
I wanna fucking pick Andre the Giant because fuck you all. The Princess Bride.
Steal that one.
Yep, I'm gonna steal him right off the bat and I had no clue about wrestling before watching that movie. Like, he was a wrestler, but I fell in love with him instantly. I was like a little kid, and he was so fucking funny and so huge and so imposing. And then when I got into wrestling,
anybody want a peanut?
I was like, oh my god, that's the fucking guy from the Princess Bride. Like, he was the Princess Bride guy for me when I was growing up. And when I was watching, I grew up in a tiny group that was very obsessed with wrestling, and we used to watch DVDs of the classic matches and fucking watching
the Attitude Era. So you probably had some pretty good, you guys.
Oh yeah, I was The Rock, Triple H, and Stone Cold Steve Austin fan, and D-Generation X, all that bullshit. But
chopping,
everybody suck my dick, But if you want to, I'm not gonna force you.
Consent, right? Consent, but also.
But in the Princess Bride, he's so fucking funny, and when he and the tiny bald guy, which I always forget his
Wallace
name.
Shawn.
Yes, him and Wallace Shawn just having a conversation. I don't know why it's so fucking funny. I think it's the tone of voice. He has such a deep tone of voice, and then Wallace Shawn's like the juxtaposition of that scene is just always hilarious. I'm gonna pick that guy, and you can guys get the scraps.
Now we get to fight over the scraps.
Oh, I got some good scraps for you because I have nothing to bring to a wrestler conversation.
You don't watch any movies that have wrestlers in them?
No. Just let me.
Fuck you,
Batista in the Guardians movies.
Shut up. Adam Sandler's two uses of wrestlers. One is
Kevin Nash.
Captain Insano in
Yeah.
Waterboy, and Stone Cold Steve Austin in The Longest Yard.
And Kevin Nash in The Longest Yard, too.
Yes, that was
He's
really
the one
fun.
that has the estrogen.
Kevin Nash is in
That is Kevin Nash.
that terrible Punisher movie that TJ likes, too. Kevin Nash.
And also,
We could use that one.
Bill Goldberg's in the Longest Yard.
That's two.
Goldberg is fun on the Goldbergs.
Sorry, time out. I used to love. I was like, oh my god! Whenever Goldberg comes over to WWF, that's gonna be so fucking amazing. And when he finally came over, it was like the suckiest thing ever.
Oh man, no, we don't want to talk about the invasion angle. This is not a wrestling podcast. If you guys want to watch it, I will do that shit. If you want to do an Attitude Era episode, we'll do it.
The whole movie of Ready to Rumble. I love that movie.
That's
Ready to Rumble. There you go. Oliver Platt trying to like. You're supposed to believe Oliver Platt can be a wrestler, like old fat ass Oliver Platt.
I'm the king.
Why didn't they just get real Jerry Lawler to play that part? First of all, he would have been fucking way better. I mean, nothing against Oliver Platt. I love Oliver Platt. But you could have legit had Jerry Lawler play the king and just have him be the king.
It's unbelievable.
Jerry, wait.
Unbelievable, though.
Wait,
You
Jerry
got some
Lawler.
good Macho Man Randy Savage, though.
Jerry Lawler
Man
in
on the Moon.
Man on the Moon. Fuck yeah. That was he was great.
Recreating his own life on Man on the Moon. And also, I think in that movie, doing a little creative license about how much he was in on that joke, too.
Sure. It's like I
I'm
knew
pretty
from the
sure
very
that movie helped bankrupt WCW, by the way, too.
And
Ready
also,
to Rumble? They were taking a lot of big swings in those days.
Oh,
because Joe mentioned the Big Show in. What did you mention him in? Waterboy.
Captain Insano.
He's also the giant Santa Claus in Jingle All the Way.
That's right. And Vern Troyer is the
Our-
little Santa Claus.
Yes.
Our watch along.
All right, Brian, who you got?
Oh, yes. Our watch along. Go find our watch along. It's on our channel. Just keep searching. You'll find it. Was it my turn?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I think the obvious answer here that I thought was the softball that I can't believe is still left is MacGruber. There's like a ton of wrestlers in MacGruber. Fucking Chris Jericho's in it. The Big Show's in it. There's a bunch of wrestlers, Great Khali, and like a bunch of the like Shelton Benjamin and just everybody. But I was gonna go with something more obscure because I was like, there's so many that you guys didn't mention. Nobody said fucking No Holds Barred, Rip 'Em, you know, like that's a classic Hulk
movie made on cocaine,
or Mr. Nanny or Three Ninjas or nobody.
No. We don't talk about that racist. But Roddy Piper and They Live.
Roddy Piper and They Live. But no. I want to talk about a 2010 movie starring The Big Show. Man, The Big Show's been in a lot of fucking movies, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's called Knucklehead. It's one of those like straight to DVD or red box. You probably have seen the cover. A shitty Photoshop cover of like him in a diaper, and there's a bunch of weird pictures around him. But it's just one of those like weird, wacky, kind of low budget. A grifter like uses him to like trying to make money. It was just a fun, weird movie, and I've only seen it once. But when I was thinking about this question, I was like, "What's a movie that had a wrestler in it that popped into my mind?" And I was like, "So I would recommend me and you go find that and watch it again and see if it was any good or if it was just a big piece of shit."
And I'll give credit to Dave Bautista in Blade Runner. He's actually very fucking good in that movie.
Very good at that.
He's good.
He's shown to be a good actor.
Yeah, he's good in all the stuff he does. I'm going with
anything left for you, TJ?
Well, I was going to go with the obvious choice here because no one's. I mean, we've mentioned him in The Longest Yard, but we didn't mention him in the best movies. In it's Steve Austin in The Condemned. Anyone ever see that?
I thought you were going to say Triple H in Blade Trinity.
No, I was just looking for an honorable mention.
Triple H made
all three Blade movies, guys. Give it up.
Triple H made like a knockoff pacifier called like. You never see that cover?
Oh,
and
so
it was like Jean-Paul Levesque.
But Steve Austin basically plays a criminal where he gets dropped on an island with like 13 other criminals, and this live broadcast it was huge, and they have to murder everybody. He's got to save this one girl.
I've never seen that, but I wanted to.
Oh, it's so good. It's they made like 13 sequels of it.
Terrible.
I'm pretty sure John Cena, The Miz, and Edge played a version of it at some point.
Dude. Oh, the Miz took over the Marines.
Yeah, the Marines too.
He made like 20 Marines.
He's like 5 of those now. Like he took it. He not only took it over, but he is now the Marine much more than John Cena ever was. I did watch the first Marine movie because Robert Patrick was the villain, and I will watch any movie with Robert Patrick in it.
But I'm pretty upset that no one picked Steve Austin. He's also the best wrestler you want to go to a bar to and have a drink with, and.
Ooh, speaking of bars, you know what I was wondering? Yusuf mentioned something, and I wanted to bring it up to the group here. What do you guys think the best movie bar is?
Oh, I know. I mean, I have a shit ton of bars written down just in case somebody's blanking or we just want to
go first this time.
No. I'm picking
one anyway.
Go ahead. Pick Casablanca.
It's a little-known movie. Maybe you guys have heard of it. No, but there's a movie directed by Steve Buscemi, who will pop up in our discussion later. It's called Trees Lounge. You know, one of those, like, when an actor gets famous and they want to try their hand at directing kind of jobs. It's like a low-budget thing, and he drives an ice cream truck, and he has an awkward relationship with a younger woman, and he kind of a like sad drunk, and is in this bar with a bunch of other sad drunks, but they're all played by really great character actors, and it was just one that I really enjoyed. And again, much like Knucklehead, it's one I've always meant to go back and revisit. So I was like, here's a great opportunity to remind myself about it, and maybe, you know, throw it out to some other people too. If you like obscure late 90s directed by a actor type shit.
But that's like, would that bar be somewhere you wish to go have a drink?
Actually, yeah, I love a dive bar. I do love a dive bar. A bar that's dingy and dark and has like 4 regulars that almost never leave is perfect. Like Moe's. You know what I mean? Like that's
I like your shirt, by the way. Speaking of Moe's.
It's my Troy McClure Planet of the Apes shirt. Thank you.
Really. You're really hitting all my buttons tonight.
What about you, Joe? Where you want to go drink?
Oh God. You know what's funny? You're like, yeah, movie bar, and you say it, and then you're like, wait, shit, there are bars and movies.
I was like, I know there are a lot of these. Why am I not coming up?
One that ties into discussions later. This bar looks like a ton of fun. Is the From Dusk Till Dawn bar, but I want to get the hell out of there.
We got apple pie, pussy.
Actually, I'm gonna let you finish, Joe. But he has an affinity for bars because Sin City also has an awesome bar, and Desperados is a shit ton of bars, and From Dusk Till Dawn, which I'll let you finish, has an awesome.
No,
bar.
He's a bar
enthusiast.
Another one, and I'm just kind of doing a lateral move here. Would be Inglourious Bastards.
Ooh, the basement
room? Yeah, the basement bar is a fucking... it's a great scene, and it's a...
What I was going to say, like, the bar aside, amazing moment.
Yeah. And then just for the kids, The Shining, The Lonely 50th
Come on, man. Yeah, that's fantastic. I wish I would... It's so beautiful, and nobody's there. You don't have to elbow people out of the way. It's just a ghost giving you ghost whiskey. You sit down, and the money's no good here. Your money's no good here. How about you, TJ?
Oh, I got a couple of them been named already, so I'm gonna go with the easy one. No one's mentioned. I'm probably stealing this from somebody. I'm gonna go to the Winchester.
Oh,
yeah, you gotta do the Winchester at some point.
Brian, tell us how you feel about Edgar Wright, Edgar Wright.
He's made 3 good movies for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we need to hear. TJ, continue with your topic.
Sorry, TJ. Sorry for cutting you off.
Good. And I was going to move on to the next horror type of bar that would be fun to walk into in the middle of the night in a full moon. The Slaughtered Lamb from An American Werewolf in London.
Oh, yeah.
Right. That's a great pick.
The most awkward situation you could ever put yourself in, with no kitchen, nothing to eat, but all you get is just warm beer and darts. Put me in that situation. I'll definitely get murdered or made to a werewolf. and that'd probably be my pick.
Have you ever...
also honorable mention for Brian, the Coco Bongo Club from The Mask and Cameron Diaz dancing because Jim Carrey is a champ.
Yeah, he loves Jim Carrey.
Have you ever walked into a bar like that though, where you should not be in there?
Oh, dude, I'm a Latino in the USA. That happens to me every day.
I was like, no, I got white privilege, so I'm good.
No, I have because
I've been to some uncomfortable biker bars and shit. Where
that's what I mean. It's usually a biker bar where like,
dude, the other day
they know you're not there.
The other day for some reason, we were in Kentucky drinking, and in that bar there was a guy with a Confederate flag shirt. And another one that had Trump knows more than you, bitch. And there was like a hand of Trump like this. And I looked at my wife. I was like, we're not supposed to be here. She's like, I have dark skin. How do I feel right now? Because I could blend in. If I stay quiet, they go like, maybe he's an Italian guy. He's not Puerto Rican. But my wife, she cannot escape her connotation. But I want to jump in. I want to obviously Rick's Cafe in Casablanca is a fantastic bar. You just have I'm blanking on the name of the pianist. Help me out, Brian.
Charlie Chaplin.
You have Charlie Chaplin just playing on the piano, and you're just drinking away some martinis. I cannot.
Orlando Jones.
I'm gonna say 2 ones just so fans don't go ape shit.
Is it a Casablanca? It's a speakeasy.
Yeah, it's kind of like a jazz bar.
Yeah, that's a street bar.
Club. Yeah, they serve alcohol openly. They're in a foreign land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, every speakeasy, I should say, is trying to look like Casablanca.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We can't go away without mentioning the Mos Cantina. How do you say it?
Mos Eisley.
Mos Eisley Cantina.
I
Star Wars.
Don't think it's a good bar.
I know you're gonna die in there, but that's fine. Everybody.
I don't know. I mean, you've got a lightsaber. You're all right.
Yeah, But like, I want to go to a bar.
What I like about that bar, they discriminate against droids, and I appreciate that.
We gotta mention Hogshead and Harry Potter because that's a fantastic bar where they should serve alcohol to underage kids. And
they're not.
And my pick,
England.
My pick is the Ink Pink Club from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, nice.
That's a good one.
You just get to drink with cartoons. And just have the time of your life, but that's kind of my pick right there.
And Jessica Rabbit's there, right?
Oh yeah, she kicks Cameron Diaz's ass.
She does, and
no. Cameron Diaz in The Mask is
just a couple that popped up on my search also that I didn't hear mentioned. The Milk Bar from Clockwork Orange.
Nah,
if we're just talking like iconic bars. And there was one on here I wanted to bring up, but maybe it's not worth bothering now.
What?
Oh, I wanted to throw this one came up, and I don't know if it counts as a bar. It's more like a restaurant and a club. Jackrabbit Slims from Pulp Fiction.
I saw that come up too. That's a fucking restaurant. They went to Chili's.
Right. That's like a pop up kind of. Like
Joe, you're bar addict. You think nothing's a bar. You just want to be like whatever it is. It's a restaurant.
It has to have one stool and one bartender. That's it.
There's like
Applebee's
and Chili's and Jackrabbit Sims have a bar, but they're
not
going there in that movie for a restaurant.
That also has a bar. I 100% agree. I thought it was weird. Although I would love to go to Jackrabbit Slims.
Like
I'd love.
You know what's a good one? In Goodfellas, like the Copacabana Club. Like that's
sure. But that's a club, not a bar.
But I don't consider that a bar.
Coyote Ugly.
Great bar.
I mean, yeah, those girls would have pissed me off. I'd be like, "Hey, you're knocking over my drinking shit. Get off the bar."
I want a bar with warm beer that tastes like.
I don't want fucking Beto O'Rourke jumping up with his feet on where I'm eating and drinking. Fuck that.
But if you wanted to just have a warm piss drink of a beer like Tia.
Oh, you want some piss warm chungo? You know just where to go. You go to Tarasco Bar. And that's what we're talking about today. Man, the segues have just been so tight. I hate to call them out, but I can't help it.
You've been muting my mic.
That's that shit that you show up for here on Flyover State of Film. Those fire segues. We're talking about my pick this week. A movie that is very near and dear to my heart that I have watched many, many times, that I quote along with. I can't help myself. I'm very annoying to watch this one with. And that is Desperado, the Robert Rodriguez sophomore effort. Real quick, I want to say that this came out the same couple weeks as The Usual Suspects, and I got them confused for a while because their trailers were very similar. They both had
Marachis?
Well-dressed Latino men with long hair walking with fire behind them, and there were lines in both of them about how their faces were shadowed. Nobody saw their faces. And so, like, I thought they were the same movie until I finally saw Desperado, which I saw way before I ever saw Usual Suspects. So that's just a little bit of trivia for you about me. And let's talk a little bit about what is one of my, if you listen to a DVD bunker of my top 10 action movies, one of my all-time favorites.
Oh my God, we almost got to do it.
Holy shit.
You didn't even segue about the Marvel movies.
I know. I missed my opportunity and I didn't go back to it. But now that you mention it, I did do them all episode of the DVD bunker that was non-MCU comic book movies, not just Marvel, but all comic book movies, not MCU. More about superheroes than just like adaptations. All right.
Brian,
anyway,
tell us what
topic at hand.
Brian, tell us what Desperado is.
Oh, okay. So Desperado is, I described it actually to Yusef earlier. It has a similar structure to the Evil Dead franchise, where a filmmaker on a shoestring budget, a young man named Robert Rodriguez, who it came up in that same era, just a little bit behind Quentin Tarantino, but in that 90s Kevin Smith, everybody's doing it on the dirty, independent cinema that does not exist anymore.
And wait, he does it. He does everything. He does cinematography, editing, producing, directing, and writing. He does everything. Yep. It's
everything.
Go ahead.
One thing, if you have the DVDs for these movies, there's some great. He does the Robert Rodriguez Film School, and literally, I would recommend it. If even if you're just making YouTube videos, it's still a resource. Look at that shit. Check it out. Yep. But anyway, so his first movie, El Mariachi, was about a guy who, it's kind of a North by Northwest almost situation where a guy gets mistaken for a killer because he's a guitar player and a guy has a guitar case full of guns and he gets mistaken for him. And that all plays out. It's a great movie. I'm not going to spoil it here. Check it out. But his second movie, Desperado, it's a sequel, but it's also kind of like a remake in a way. It's borderline. It's not as remakey as Evil Dead 2, but it's more
similar. I'd say it's more like Road Warrior and Mad Max.
Yeah, that's a great example.
There you go. That's a great one. That's a very good. But anyway, so the plot of it is
we're doing good, guys.
Synergy.
The plot is there's basically Antonio Banderas plays a man bound for revenge. He has a guitar case full of guns. He's seeking out the boss who ordered the killing of his girlfriend. It's a little obscure because he already killed the guy who actually killed the love of his life. That death has been taken care of in the first movie. So this is like he wants to seek out his boss because that part's a little unclear. I don't mind though. It's fine. It's just a very basic revenge story. We follow him through his quest. He comes to a small town. He meets a beautiful lady. A lot of people die, and
explosions
as we go. Yeah,
but you know what I love. You know what I love about
guitar music.
You know what I love about Robert Rodriguez. Before we actually jump into it, and it kind of plays into what we're going to talk about. What you just talked about the Mariachi and Desperado shit. Like Robert Rodriguez is kind of like David Lynch and Wes Anderson and Martin Scorsese, to name a few. Like he's very loyal to his actors, and he always casts them again. But it kind of, at least for me, it plays against that because El Mariachi from the first one plays like the second hand to Antonio Banderas in this movie. And I'm like, that's El Mariachi. Why the fuck is Antonio Banderas fucking trying to...
man. They needed to sell this movie in the United States. They needed a bigger star than that. I'm still impressed. I'm still impressed that they got it made with Antonio Banderas, to be quite honest with you, because I didn't know who Antonio Banderas was when this movie came out. He had been in his biggest role was probably in Philadelphia before this.
Racist.
I was not aware. He wasn't on my radar as a 12-year-old child, however old I was.
When did Zorro come out?
Way
well after. released.
All right, cool.
Never mind.
Because he was like a star. Even Selma Hayek. That's one. This is like one of her first roles.
This is before. Yeah, this is the first time I saw Selma Hayek too. And oh my God, Selma Hayek in this movie.
Dios mío, gracias. Dios mío,
gracias. The way they introduce her is that she causes a car accident because she's so hot. The people are staring at her and they run into each other.
She's a Hall of Famer.
En el nombre del Padre, el Hijo, y el Espíritu Santo, amen.
What did you said?
Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Also, the fact that they kept hollering at her after they crashed.
Yeah, they were still. They didn't even care. They were like, now, I did want to ask TJ. This was your first time seeing this movie,
First time ever.
Joe, had you seen it before?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, all right. Well, TJ, since it's your first time, just like break it down just a little bit for us. How'd you like it?
The very first like 15 minutes of this, mind you, Steve Buscemi comes in hot.
Oh, so hot.
Oh man, that Buscemi. I tweeted out that story and then Quentin Tarantino's joke later on during his cameo were the two things that sold me on this movie as much as the action ever did. Like,
Quentin 100% wrote that intro.
Bit on that joke hard, and he told that shit for sure.
I don't know. These are just Joe facts right now. I feel like they had a cut of the script of the movie, right? And then Quentin Tarantino said, "No, you need this intro. And you need to catch a Cheech Marin, who's a throwback."
His own dialogue for sure. I don't know how much he
so Tarantino-y.
No, it's so good. That Cheech Marin reacting to the and you know what I like about Steve Buscemi? Steve Buscemi is acting like a guy that's telling a story that he clearly
telling it. I love that.
Exasperating it.
He's like, Buscho.
I love how many times he hits the thing about he's like, these guys were real scum. Not like the class guys you got in this place. I'm talking world-class turds.
And I love the callback to the beer. He's like drinking the beer. He's like, oh, this is so good. And then when they show Quentin drinking the beer, he's like, what the fuck am I drinking? He's like so committed to the story and so committed to being overly nice. He's like, oh, this is such a good beer. Can you change the mug? This mug is dirty. What the fuck?
That's all we have.
But like these movies I grew up on, I texted my buddy like right away. I was like, how did you not show me this movie? We watched From Dusk Till Dawn. We watched Return of the Living Dead, like all those weird movies, Robert Rodriguez style movies. It's like, why did you show me this? He's like, I've seen it a million times. To tell you why I've never seen it with you, I couldn't tell you. But like this movie,
that's great.
It's like one of those things to where now I want to do which Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
You should watch El Mariachi too. No disrespect to El Mariachi. Like it's really good. And especially when like you know like how cheap he made it. It's like as impressive as Clerks. It's like imagine the budget of Clerks, but a dude made a real movie and not just a movie of two guys standing behind the counter. You know what I mean? Like and
multiple
he killed it. I think this movie was like seminal as far as it's so distinctly his own thing, but yet still very much like he's clearly making an American action movie and a John Woo movie, but he's also making a totally original Mexican action movie that never existed before. Like
I love that. Go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say there's a really odd scene in this movie where the color saturation changes. Did anyone notice that? Like it's very
probably
deliberate.
That. Do you remember?
Oh, it's a Selma. This is very open. It's a Selma Hayek, Antonio Banderas scene, but like the saturation changes, and it to bring like a more of like a fear of dread. I don't know. I just noticed it. I'm sorry, I don't have a big.
I think it was a sex scene.
Go ahead. That sex scene. I mean, we don't want to be creepers here, but my God. But
I guess. If you saw this when you were a young teen, it was definitely something that, stuck with you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I saw this movie. This movie came out in 95. I saw this movie probably 3 years later, and I was around 10 years old, and I would watch this movie religiously because I can only imagine like a little Robert Rodriguez in school and learning about physics, and he's like, fuck you. A bullet can move a man 20 feet in the air. And he's like, every single explosion, every single bullet is so bombastic. It's so over the top. It's fantastic.
shootout he has, like I like the Buscemi, I like the intercut shootout with all the antlers on the walls. But the next fight scene, the shootout at the Tarasco bar, is one of my favorite action sequences of all time. There's so much good shit going on in that.
He's not a frugal man. He doesn't save a single bullet. Like a man can get 20.
He reloads the guns, and then the guy jumps on him. He kicks him into the air. He unloads the 2 full clips into one dude, and then kicks him out. Like that's just like you shot him like 20 times.
The first Selma Hayek
when he's on the floor shooting, and the fucking bullet hits his spur and the spark goes off on his spur. I like when he shoots the fan off and it falls on the guy, and there's that perfect little cloud of smoke on the ceiling where the fan falls.
They can't find a bullet. That sequence is amazing.
They're going through the guns and all the guns are shot out and they keep. Oh man! And I love
the best way he shoots the guns. How he whips them.
Back to the shitty bathroom too, and then like he was actually the legit pickup man, but he gets killed because of the stuff that's going on with Quentin Tarantino or with Antonio. It's so good.
Selma Hayek laying that dude out in the stairs, and then he comes fucking falling down, and Antonio Banderas like lays like 3 more bullets into him.
And I love, and TJ pointed it out.
So many good comedic beats.
I love the way that he kind of flourishes his
gun movement. He's Han Solo. He's got that loosey goosey Han Solo like wrist flick. He's like the guys from Wanted where they flick the bullets around corners and shit.
What makes me think now that with the El Mariachi stuff, is he really that skilled, or is he just fucking unloading as many bullets as he can, like you would in a video game where you're just button mashing? He just like
what movie are we talking about?
Out.
Desperado, you could question it, but if we're talking about the next step, which is Once Upon a Time in Mexico, he is like a killing machine, an unstoppable, unkillable, can't miss, bullseye, Hawkeye, fucking
can't get
master. Bullet master.
Okay, so
I want to
improve throughout the movies.
I love the misdirect of the guitar case, like because there's a shit ton of mariachis in Mexico, and you know he can blend in, but how fucking heavy is that case? How heavy is that case?
The fake top is so tight. Like when they first open it, and he has that scene where he's like, "No, it's just a guitar. It's my guitar." And then it slowly comes open, and you see, and the cock gun from Dusk Till Dawn is in there.
Put it out.
And also, this is the first movie I think I ever saw the sleeve guns used, where he pops.
That's genius. Yeah, and also like,
well, first movie you saw, I would say that's the fucking Taxi Driver.
Well, yeah, but I meant used in like this kind of like actiony way of like
And also,
I don't know though, because it was in Alien Resurrection too, so right around the same time.
And also, as much action as in this movie, you get a very touching scene between him and the kid from Coco with a guitar. They're like going down the side of the road.
Little Dom Herrera with his fucking puffy cheeks.
No, dude. I love the guitar thing. Like all right, this is the hand wound.
Yeah,
represents.
That's like part of it. That's like his wound from his previous life.
It represents the loss.
About how it's easier to destroy than to create.
I love the hand wound represents like he lost his wife, but he also lost his passion for music, and he lost his job. But that hand wound does not interfere with him fucking shooting guns at all. Like he's super comfortable with shooting a gun. There's no problem.
It's easier to pull a trigger than it is. He has that whole speech.
That's what he said. Yeah, I was gonna say the one thing I saw is like it's easier to pull a trigger than it is to strum a guitar. And he tells the kids like, "Don't worry about this hand. Take a look at this hand right here." It tells the Coco kid, and then that's how Pixar got the idea.
Like,
destroy than to create. But there's something we haven't talked about. We talked about how how this movie gave us Antonio. We talked about how this movie gave us Selma.
There's
somebody else that this movie gave us. Danny motherfucking Trejo. I had never seen that dude, and talk about something that made an impression. And then literally, like everybody, I feel like every casting agent who saw Desperado instantly put Danny Trejo in every movie. He's in Anaconda. He's in Con Air. He's in fucking like he just starts popping up in shit forever. And then I mean, obviously Robert Rodriguez kept putting him in shit. Yeah, he's just so good.
Dude, that scene, him versus the limousine He's
only got the knives. He's so badass.
And that's so funny because he would have killed Antonio Banderas. The movie would have ended. But they we killed a guy with knives. It's like, we're looking for a guy with...
That leads to a great comedic beat where they take him back to the club and they're getting a description of the dude over the phone. And
he's got a tattoo on his chest of a woman. Okay? Anything else you can give me? He throws knives. They pull knives up. It's like, all right.
Big drop the knives and the money.
But also, like, it's one of those best action scenes where in the entire movie, they kind of like hint towards it where like the guy's Antonio Banderas shooting his guns, reloads his clip. He's like, oh, they're empty. And then he has that great scene in the bar where him and the guy are going after the empty guns the entire time. Yeah. There's that scene where Danny Trejo literally throws every single knife he can into the limo. And the very next scene, you see him, his entire belt is full of knives again. And I'm just like, that is exactly what I expect in these type of movies.
Exactly. And you know what? It's like, I'm totally fine with it. It's the same way as it's the same disbelief when they shoot Danny Trejo. He only gets hit in his vest because that's where they can put the squibs. He's got a totally bare chest, but they never hit him in the chest. They only hit him in the vest. So
I have fun with Once Upon a Time, but Once Upon a Time is when they switched from squibs to CGI. So
yeah,
it's not the same.
Even like a great squib when Banderas pulls the first knife out of his back and just like a squirt of blood hits the wall, and you're like, what? This doesn't work that way.
That doesn't happen in movies today.
Yeah. We got to talk a little bit about Bucho too. Joaquin de Almeida is really great as the villain in this. He's a real scummy slimeball guy.
Did you like the reveal that he's his brother?
I was so late in the movie. It kind of is almost meaningless. It doesn't really mean much, you know. Like
the only complaint I have with this movie, and it's like a legit, like, you know, a Thor complaint. Cinema is the guy that gets his leg broken. Like, I thought there was gonna be more with him.
Okay.
Like,
oh my god, the minute I was telling my wife this last night. It's the first time that like I ever felt like a movie subverted my expectations when I was expecting something and it didn't pay off. I was even as a kid, I was like, "Oh, they introduced this guy with a fight, so that means he'll fight with Antonio Banderas." That's how movies work.
Yeah,
and then like. And then he just shoots the guy, and the guy doesn't fall. He more jumps off of a building at him.
I have a small, a minimal complaint list, and the very first one.
Go ahead. You're the first time watcher. Go ahead.
Yeah, first time watcher. This is small. I've already talked about a couple of these things, but the very first thing with
a small complaint list is pretty nice. It's pretty nice.
The boxing kickboxing scene where they lead up to this guy, and it's the worst like. Dramatized boxing you'll ever see, and like stage boxing.
Yeah, but I love Christos. Come on, Christos.
Which
I love that dude. That shit's awesome.
That's what I'm saying. Christos should have been the guy to finally go hand to hand against Antonio Banderas. That's it. That guy with the whole leg in the ring.
Christos almost beats him to death, and then he shoots him at the last minute. That's what we should have gotten.
Now, the number one thing I have here is it starred, and this goes back to the beginning. And I'm not a doctor; I don't know how this works. But when Salma Hayek heals Antonio Banderas and sews him up, but before she sews him up, she lights a fucking cigarette.
Oh, I know.
Takes a puff, and then shoves it into his open wound as if it was like
clean. That's not how you cauterize a wound.
Yeah. I was like, hold on a second. The one
it's so poppy and so fun though. Like it's such a hysterical moment.
And it's a great moment. That whole in between moment is so good because up until then, you've only seen him be tough and badass. It's like the first time he's ever vulnerable in the whole movie, and she's kind of got him at her mercy. And I love that part too, where he drinks the hot she like water, lets him get right to his lips, and then she's like, "Hot water." What are you doing to me? What the fuck you doing to me?
That's a good movie. All right, go ahead, TA. One more.
And my favorite part is they kind of like lead up to this. This is like the foreshadowing. They're like, Steve Buscemi's like, "You want some crazy guys? Call the two guys from the so and so." And then he finally fucking does it, and it leads to one of the best action scenes
I was gonna say,
ever.
What did you think was going to happen when those dudes showed up, TJ? Like, did you have any idea what you were about to be in for?
No, I literally thought they were going to do the same thing with their guitar cases, but as soon as
one had going to be full of guns, right?
As soon as one had a specific one and one had a specific guitar case, I was in. Power Rangers.
Not only does dude have a rocket launcher in his guitar case, but it's some kind of magic, like you can cock it and you can reload it. Like he just like jerks the handle and it reloads a second rocket. That just doesn't exist. That's not a thing.
Do you know there's like those weird shows on like Discovery where they like make the old style swords and stuff out of movies? If someone can make a guitar case rocket launcher and just shoot at like a hill of sand for once, for me, tight. I'm in.
I like the machine guns too. I'm into the machine gun ones too. He's like spraying them down. I love it. I love
because me as an audience member, I'm like, why the fuck are they not looking for cover? Like they're just in the middle, and then Antonio Banderas goes up to him and is like, get fucking cover, and then walks away, and then he dies because he's in the middle of the street getting shot at.
Antonio Banderas hiding behind his guitar case too, and he like picks up one leg and he's like standing behind it, letting his guitar case take it.
Dude, there's so many good comedic beats.
Oh, it's so
many.
There's really, it's got some like really legitimately funny moments for sure. Like, what about when this is kind of funny in that it's just like a fucked up thing, but like they cut from like the beauty of the sex scene between Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek to Joaquin de Almeida getting rode by that girl, and she goes to kiss him, he blows the cigar smoke in her mouth. It's just such a nasty motherfucker.
She's also wearing a full thing of underwear, which also is one of my lists, where she's like, how do you have sex with underwear on? Because that doesn't...
people do that, but it is a pet peeve of mine.
But I don't like he has his pants on.
I hate when people pull the underwear over to fuck. That's fucked up. Take that shit off. That's like you're gonna get a goddamn yeast infection like that.
The funniest beat of this movie is that guy playing the villain with his one good henchman where he's like, oh, look, a stranger. I don't know him. He's got a gun.
Boom.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, he tried to shoot that guy twice in the fucking movie. Like, he really hated him.
Yeah, that guy was going for sure. I do love the Bulletproof Limo, though. That's something I wish
that
would
was
be brought
tight,
in more movies. That was tight.
Yeah.
Fucking great movie.
All right, let's wrap it up real quick. Were there any thoughts that we needed to get out about Desperado? I feel like this is a pretty good one. I'll start out by rating it. If you didn't if you haven't listened to my DVD bunker, I won't spoil the ranking, but this is like an almost perfect action movie to me. I'll give it like a 9.5 out of 10.
I'll jump right in.
Go ahead. Anybody else? Take the reins.
No, I'll jump right in there. I haven't seen this. This is the first time watch for me, and all this means to me is now, guys, I want to make a promise to you for at least the next 2 episodes. All right, I'm gonna leave my childhood behind, and I'm gonna try to bring some heat because I'm gonna have to after this one.
I'll tell you about heat.
Yeah, okay, no, and I'm gonna give this movie a clean 9. A clean 9 out of 10. I'm a big fan of this. This is something I'm gonna rewatch and also go into it.
What would you, Joe? You've been quiet for a while. Give me something.
I also will go a clean 9 out of 10.
Oh my god.
This is a phenomenal film.
This is right up there with Drunken Master as far as if you're watching this movie to get action, if you're watching our show to get action movie recommendations, we're fucking killing it lately.
Yep. These are fun action movies. Like, you can pop them on. They're not too fucking long. And I want to say that about that. The length of this movie is perfect. No time is wasted.
Yeah, it's like a nice, tight action movie, too. Yeah, there's no bloat on this movie. It moves. Like, it clips along.
So
you Seth, the last man standing. Let's hear that ranking, baby.
Oh man, this is 10 out of 10 guitar cases for me. Like this is when TJ's like, oh, this Norm and fucking is my childhood. No, bitch. Antonio Banderas is my childhood. And that is Desperado. That is like Jackie. Like
that's Face Off for me.
I love this film so much. It's campy, it's action, it's funny, it's dramatic. It has literally everything. And to add all of that on top, to know that it comes from one man's head, and he did everything. It's fucking.
He's a real Mexican.
He's a Mexican. I'm a Puerto Rican, and he's a Mexican.
I mean, it's no Alita Battle Angel. But...
So that movie is fun. Fuck you, Joe. Why are we gonna watch?
That's another movie that I like. To be fair, when that hits DVD, I'll watch the shit out.
No, I'm gonna watch it.
And remember when I was shitting on Hellboy earlier? I'm gonna watch the shit out of that when it comes to DVD too. Make no mistake.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it too. Don't worry.
Joe, what are we gonna watch next week?
Next week next time we are together, we actually will physically all be together in Pittsburgh.
I'm gonna touch your face.
We will touch faces, and there's an end game. But before we get to the end game, we got to get to the best MCU film that's never been released, which is Blank Man.
Wait a minute.
What?
We're all going to watch We're going to talk about Endgame a lot. It's going to be hot that week. But also, the movie of the week is Damon Wayans' Blank
Avengers
Man.
Endgame, man. We're going to watch Avengers Endgame.
The Forgotten Avenger.
We're gonna do Avengers Endgame, of course. What are you crazy? You fucking Blank Man and your shit. Joe's Avengers are Blank Man, Meteor Man, and
we're gonna fucking watch Avengers Endgame. That's it.
Yeah.
Let's say goodbye.
We're actually all gonna be
Next
together.
episode.
The next episode you see of this show will be the four of us in the same room. We're gonna get to record together. We're gonna get to touch tips. We're gonna do the whole thing, and we are gonna be talking. We're gonna be talking Avengers Endgame. Also, I want to throw this out there, and we'll definitely throw it out on Twitter, but I think one of our segments is going to be a Q&A session. So if you have any questions for anybody at Flyover State of Film, whether you want to pose it to one of us individually or if you want to pose it to us as a group and we'll handle it, either way, hit us up on Twitter, or you can find me at Herskilles, hashtag DVD Bunker if you want to watch anything I've done before. Search that DVD Bunker show. I've talked about it enough. Send us questions for Flyover Pit, hashtag Flyover Pit, at Herskilles. Guys, tell them where they can find you. Tell them where they can send questions to any of us.
At Wild Love Movies, you can find me also at wildlovemovies.com, where I could post a bunch of reviews that nobody reads. I was also in the DVD Bunker.
If I could read, I would read the shit out of those.
No, you're good. Some people read it, and I love Ryan. Shout out to Ryan.
If they don't read your stuff, definitely don't support them. Like, as long as you know it's a quid pro quo type thing. So if they don't support you, do not support them. That is the way it works.
What's up, TJ?
Squid Pro Row. You gotta find me
Squid Pro Quo.
Find me at TJ Dex on Twitter. You got Flyover State of Film on YouTube. You guys are here. Check out our Star Wars reaction, our Avengers reaction. There might be a Chucky reaction tomorrow of me getting very drunk and angry at that film. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see how I feel about it. Other than that, guys, I had a lot of fun. And Joe, where can we find you, bud?
You can find me on the DVD Bunker talking about Blank Man and my super ex-girlfriend and, just every movie that's not in the MCU on the DVD Bunker. No, you can find me at Chandango1, just being a general asshole.
Professional troll, Chandango1.
Yeah. And, no, a lot of fun. Ask us some questions. Be looking forward to
like I said, hit us up. Nothing's too personal, because if it's too personal, we just won't fucking answer it. So,
or if it's too personal, we will answer it, and then you'll feel uncomfortable with the answer.
You'll be sorry that you asked about my dad and our shitty relationship. Now I haven't talked to him in years. How did that make you feel, asshole? Why'd you bring it up? Guys, Jesus, God, I'm out of here.
God damn it.